Hi, this is Jerry Walsh from Didge Project in Brooklyn, New York, and today I'm going to go over several different styles of throat singing from the Tuvan tradition. Remember to subscribe if you like this video and check out other videos on our YouTube page for information on handpan, throat singing, beatboxing, percussion, and much more. First, I'm going to demonstrate each style individually using the help of the Shruti Box, and then from there I'm going to demonstrate all three styles merged into one. So the first style that I'm going to demonstrate is called Khoomei, which means to sing with the chest. The next style I'm going to demonstrate is called Khoomei, and it's building on the Khoomei voice and just adding a different enunciation with the mouth, but essentially doing the same constriction of the vocal cords and the same positioning as Khoomei. So this is Khoomei. So for this third style, I'm going to demonstrate Sygyt, which builds on the previous two styles of Khoomei and Khoomei. The way that it's done is you are still activating the constriction of the vocal cords and the long O-shaped mouth of Khoomei, but in this case you're also adding an additional motion of the tongue coming up to redirect the sound vibrations and the airwaves out of a tiny portion of the mouth, which basically acts as a filter. So you're filtering out sounds you don't want to accentuate those higher overtone frequencies. That's kind of sounds like whistling in a lot of ways. So to do this one, you start with Khoomei and then you go into Sygyt. So. So for the last style of the different throat singing is Kargyraa, which is in essence a totally different shift from those previous three styles in that we're not using just your vocal cords, we're kind of shifting to a different group of muscles that's farther down the throat called the vocal folds, and it's more like this deeper growling kind of voice. So this is a style for me personally that I've kind of had a relationship where I'm able sometimes to hold it for a very long time. Other times it's been something that started to irritate my throat, and so I've had to pull back. Just to demonstrate, I'm going to do it without the Shruti Box, but it just goes like this. Kargyraa is a totally different style. It's something that isn't as connected with the other three in terms of the internal mechanics of it. But those are the four basic styles of Tuvan throat singing that you'll find. I have a video from 3 years ago where I'm demonstrating the styles. Refined them a lot since then, so this is kind of an update on those. Just a couple simple things. Last year we had the Tribal Rhythms Gathering. Didge Project was created that festival, and we brought a Walsh ensemble from Tuva, some of the best Tuvan throat singers in the entire world. And I was sharing with them what I was doing, and they didn't really have too much comment in terms of things to correct. Really, the only thing they shared with me was that I needed to hold it for longer. So to hold the style of singing for just a few seconds is not really the traditional way of how the vocal expression is shared in their culture. what they'll do is they'll go and they'll share one style for as long as they possibly can until they're about to pass out, and then they'll pause, and the pause will be super, super long, and then they'll go right back into it. This is what they were sharing with me about the way that the different styles are presented in competitions and festivals, and this way of singing. So the benefit of practicing with that, with holding the really long tone, is that's really how you begin to refine the sound and really begin to learn how to accentuate those overtones and basically strengthen your voice. So the more that you hold the note, the more you're exercising the muscles and the more refined your sound is going to become. So what's highly recommended is to go find your threshold for where your breath capacity is at, and then just go beyond that. And to keep pushing yourself in that regard, not to any extreme, but just to find, your comfort zone of how long you can hold your breath, how long you can share the style, and then to just bypass that, go a little bit farther. And as you practice that daily for 20 minutes a day or so, you can see dramatic improvements. For myself, from when I look at how I was doing this a couple years ago compared to how I'm doing it now, it feels like a night and day difference for me. I feel like I'm actually really connected to the way it's supposed to be expressed, just from that minor shift of really focusing on how long I can hold it for. I also wanted to demonstrate each style combined together. Those three styles of Khoomei, Khoomei, and Sygyt with the Shruti mixed together would sound like this, so just to combine them. So it's much more enjoyable when you combine all three sounds together and just kind of get experimental with it. You can experiment with just different ways of creating letters and sounds, phonetical sounds, nothing in particular, just creating, like I say, speak in tongues. It's a good way to do it, and it's kind of like a creative way, and it also sort of releases you of the rational mind about the whole process. And they say throat singing originated before the human language, so I think that just to practice it in that way connects you back to the space from which it originally came from, so that's something really special. I also wanted to demonstrate each style of me without the Shruti Box, just because you can hear the difference. What's nice about the Shruti Box is it kind of gives you a springboard for your voice. It gives you something to tune into, and also to help draw out certain sounds, and it kind of blends the fundamental drone of the singing with the drone of the Shruti, which allows the overtones to be accentuated. And I find that I don't feel I need to sing as hard when I am using the Shruti. It's much more relaxing to share in that regard, and it really carries your voice. So it's a great tool for singing, regardless if you're doing throat singing or just singing anything in particular. But just to share totally a cappella the throat singing, I'll start just with the Khoomei. And Sygyt. So those are demonstration of those three styles a cappella. The key essence, as I share in the video that I did a few years ago on the same channel, you'll find that what's really allowing you to get that constriction of the vocal cords, which allows for this overtone sound to come through, is the squeezing of the diaphragm, the abdominal region, of really putting the extra pressure here. For me in particular, when I'm doing the Sygyt, the high whistling style, I'll find that if the overtone and the enunciation is not really coming through, then I'll just clench up here and it'll change the sound. To demonstrate what that will be like, I'll do the Sygyt a little more gently, and then I'm going to try to consciously, visibly clench up a little bit extra so you can see and then listen to how that changes the sound. So as opposed to doing having that extra like umph added in, like the more of the squeezing, obviously done in a conscious way where you're not squeezing where you're hurting yourself, but squeezing where you're just adding an additional tension is going to amplify both the volume of the sound and also the gap, I guess you could say, between the overtone and the fundamental drone. So as this style was expressed, it's not so much about singing two notes at once, but more filtering out the sounds you don't want to create the effect that there's two sounds being produced at once. I think that's one of the more simple ways to put it. And if you're doing it and you're squeezing where it's hurting, then you are definitely going too far in one end of the spectrum. What we recommend doing is to kind of figure out, okay, this is what the most gentle is, this is what the most strong is. Try to find your middle point between those two things. You want to find that middle amount of pressure when you're practicing these different styles. So what I'll oftentimes have people do is, with Khoomei, just have them go, where it's really gradual and you're starting to clench up here, which is clenching here. And we're not trying to just go like, right away. We're trying to really gradually move into that constriction. So having them start from like right there is the middle point. You could tell it's where the most rich sound of the fundamental and the overtones is coming through. So as you're practicing, learning to squeeze that diaphragm area, learning to constrict up here, following exercises from the previous video, and being gentle with yourself as you do it. Hi, this is Jerry Walsh. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe. And check out other videos on our YouTube page for information on handpan, throat singing, beatboxing, percussion, and much more.